What's up, guys? Welcome back to Off the Field Cricket Podcast. In today's video, we'll be briefly analyzing the second T20, where much like the summer so far, the Englishmen finished triumphant, as well as trumping the Aussie 11 with a 2-0 lead in the Vitality T20I series. Well, quite a thumping win for the Englishmen, not many hiccups along the way. Just completely outclassing quite a strong Aussie side, to be fair. And obviously not the fairy tale redemption the Aussies were anticipating coming into this game. Irrespective of which they have only themselves to blame, I guess, because the loss can be reasoned by their inability to not only execute their game plan with both bat and ball, but simply no player from within their playing 11 was putting their hand up in those crunch moments. Quite a deflating loss in that sense for Australia. They're not looking in their colours at the moment. It's not the typical Aussie side that we have seen in the past. So there are quite a few important things I'd like to note. Firstly, let's start with the English bowling up front. I think up front, the likes of Archer and Wood, similar to last match, were clicking the 90-mile mark on a regular basis, and they were peppering the Aussies with a good combination of not only full deliveries, nipping away from the left-hander for David Warner, nipping away from the right-hander. We saw there were a lot of plays and misses, and there was the odd short ball as well to really shake the batsman up. So in that sense, typical T20 bowling, varying it up, not allowing the batsman to really get a sense of what the bowler is trying to do. And the Australian batting lineup, there are so many points that it's a video for some other day. But quickly, some of the main points. Initially, Finch wasn't really moving his feet to the pitch of the ball, throwing the kitchen sink at every ball that comes. There were plenty of overpitch deliveries, in my opinion, which should have been capitalized. But I think it's a major reason for that is the new stance that Finch has implemented, which I'll talk about in a minute. Finch, on one hand, has looked way more at home against spin and in taking on the likes of Adil Rashid over the top. However, he's struggled quite a bit against some pace and swing, up front. Talking a little bit about his stance now, let's analyze a little bit of that, because I think it's played a pivotal role in his performance this series. His new stance is quite a mix of De Villiers and Smith's stance. In that sense, he goes back and across and he crouches a bit. And I feel that's one of the reasons, that crouching is one of the reasons why his footwork has become negligent. And he's not able to face that new ball. He's not able to go to the pitch of the delivery to drive. And you saw there were quite a few plays and misses inside edges. He was looking scrappy. And, obviously Warner got a peach and from Archer with the ball nagging away and coming back. And it's quite a hard delivery to play. So I don't blame him for that. With a formidable performance in the first T20, it's okay. I mean, it's an odd day out, and a bit of brilliance in the field by Morgan to dismiss Smith. Again, great awareness and a great display of athleticism, something that's characteristic of this New England 11.
At that stage, the run was quite unnecessary, I feel, because Smith had just hit a 6 and a 4, and take that risky runs, that risky single was not needed at that time, and that is what I think sparked the Aussie collapse after that. I think they were going pretty decent till that stage in the game, but I think that one run out, brilliance in the field, as we said in the earlier video as well. In today's game, you need to have those brilliant fielding sides. I think Morgan leading from the front with that run out, absolutely brilliant.
Let's analyze the pitch a little bit now. I feel the pitch in the first innings looked so good for bowling. Where there was great pace, great bounce, great carry for the bowlers, especially Wood and Archer were clicking 90 miles an hour. There was great carry and great bounce in the wicket, and we saw Warner was troubled quite a bit with the short ball. I think Stark got the ball to tail in quite sweetly against Bairstow. There were quite a few plays at play and misses. However, Erd in line and lengths, there was the quality of execution wasn't up to the mark, I'd say, and that's what meant that Aussies couldn't get those crucial inroads up front against some of the most explosive English batsmen. And if you don't get early inroads, really, as the game panned out, it's the storyline, the narrative that's going to repeat in every game if you don't get wickets up front against England. What do you think?
But the pitch, I think, had something to offer for both the pacers and the spinners. If you look up front, even at Tom Curran, who was bowling at 125 kilometers per hour, even he was getting that nip. So it was great to see that. But then after a few overs, obviously the spinners also had something that they could use, because if you saw the likes of Adil Rashid bowling and even Moeen Ali got a bit of purchase of the pitch
Yeah.
And I think we saw that very weird appeal from Butler.
Yeah.
I think Finch middled it and they still took the review. That was a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But I think the pitch had a lot to offer for both the pacers and the spinners.
Yeah. At the latter half of the Australian innings, there was one positive that they could take off. Compared to the rest of the innings, obviously there was no glorious performance as such, but there was a slight bit of impetus penetrated into the innings by Agar, who had a paltry outing last time around, and also Maxwell and Cummins. They had a decent hit out, I'd say, compared to the others. And
Yeah.
after the top order was wrapped up quite early, I think they did a decent job of getting Australia to 150 odd. Although that didn't turn out to be enough, but at that moment, that's the best they could have done.
Pretty respectable total actually, because it looked at one stage they wouldn't even cross the 140 marks. I think game was a mirror image of the previous game. I think it's just that Australia were in England shoes and vice
Yeah.
versa. If you look at how England were chasing this time around, they started brilliantly with Butler opening and going great at the top. I think obviously Bairstow has still not gotten the hang of coming back after the lockdown. He's still not got the hang of cricket yet. He's still struggling. Obviously, that was a brute of a delivery from Stark. It was a fast bouncer, and that put him off balance. But I think he was a bit careless as well. I think he just swung his bat and got hit wicket. You have to be a little bit more aware than that.
Yeah.
But I think he still hasn't gotten the feel of cricket yet. Butler going great at the top. And as you mentioned, Stark very inconsistent. He got a few to nip back, but then he was either giving too much width or straying down the pads. Uh, and why I say it's a mirror image as well is because the only two people to stand up for the team were again Malan and Butler.
Yeah.
It's the same repeat of last game. Australia had a chance to sneak through. They really did have a chance because when Banton threw his wicket away, I think obviously he's young, and but there was no need for that. I think he just came and just swept the ball, giving a chance, and then again, then Malan also got out. So they were getting wickets at regular intervals. But again, I think poor captaincy on Finch's part. I think they still had it in the game when they got Morgan out as well.
Yeah.
After Morgan got out, they had a real chance. I think they needed 18 of the last two. And that is where I think Finch's captaincy actually lost it for Australia. Giving Adam Zampa the second last over of a game was completely out of my understanding. I don't understand why you would give Zampa that over when you have the likes of Pat Cummins and you had a Kane Richardson who had 2 overs left in his bag.
It was quite a gamble, I'd say. It was more because looking at the way Butler and Moeen were batting, there were some great strides over extra cover down the ground. It wasn't looking quite good for England in that sense. So I think it was just a gamble from Finch's end, and you can understand that as a viewer, I guess.
Gambling with Ashton Agar still makes a certain amount of sense because he's a left-arm finger spin bowler. You have more control when you're bowling finger spin. But to bowl a leg spinner, I think leg spinner primarily has the job of picking wickets. You can't expect a leg spinner to go there and stop the runs, especially when you need only 18 runs of the last over. Australia would have been better off by giving Pat Cummins and Kane Richardson the final 2 overs. Because I think when Zampa came in bold, I think Moeen finished the game in the first 2 balls. He hit a 6 and then he hit a 4. And Adam Zampa again flighted the ball. But I don't blame Adam Zampa. Because as I said, leg spinners primarily have the job of taking wickets.
We did the brave thing at that moment.
I think you needed... I think it was... if it would have come off and Moeen Ali would have gotten out, you could have said a great move. But it was more likely that it wouldn't have come off. Obviously, they were struggling against Agar a little bit, and Agar bowled the previous over well. But I really don't think when you have a world-class bowler like Pat Cummins left in the bank, I don't understand why you would save that for the last over. I think they could have crunched England and bowled Pat Cummins in the second last over. Then maybe bowling an Adam Zampa in the last over might have made sense depending on how many runs are required. I still feel personally Pat Cummins and Kane Richardson should have bowled the last overs. Hats off to England. They've won the series 2-0. And hopefully, as viewers, I hope that Australia wins the last game so that we have a bit of interest left.
A couple important points before we wrap up, I guess. I think there were a couple notable points there. I think the pitch, unlike the last match, was a lot better for batting in the sense that if we saw the ball really sat up well for batsmen. We saw Stoinis play a couple short-arm jabs over mid-wicket. There's some crunching shots out there. A great on-drive too. So it was great for batting. It was only upon the batsman, if you had the correct technique, the correct temperament, and the correct shots in your arsenal to be able to capitalize on those, capitalize the benefits the pitch was offering you, right? And that was evident through some of the strokes that the Australian batsmen played. And the second note is, it's very important. I think Maxwell, it's quite hideous to see the new stance that he's had. He's quite he has an open stance which opens his hip up, which obviously gives him explosiveness to the leg side. But as an international cricketer, you should be able to play all around the ground, and that's something that's Maxwell been known for over the years, that he plays all around the ground. However, if you are opening up to the leg side, you are unable to play the ball moving away from you, or you're not able to exploit that offside to the very best. So it's
I can't understand why he would do that. I think before, when he had his normal stance, he would be able to hit it over covers. He would be able to reverse sweep it over covers or switch hit it over covers. But now I think he's opening up. It's more like a Shiv Narayan Chanderpaul stance, which might work in a test match maybe, because your main job is mainly to leave the balls and hit away the bad balls. But when you look at a T20 game where you have to be able to play every ball in different areas, I think Glenn Maxwell, I think that's why he got it in the first game as well. It was on the offside. He tried to loft it, but because his body balance was towards the leg side, he wasn't able to exploit that offside.
Even Virat Kohli faced this issue, right? In 2014, he opened up his hip for expecting the in-swinger too much to play on the leg side to play that flick. But as you open up your body in Test cricket, or in that, for that matter, any form of cricket, your ability to play the outswinger, the ball seaming away from you, or even exploit the offside through extra cover or that sort of region, it becomes very difficult. It becomes really hard for a batsman. So I mean, it baffles me to a level where I'm failing to understand why Maxwell needs to do it. He's done fairly well in the past all around the ground. It's giving you more options. I think he just feels more comfortable exploiting the leg side, and that's probably the reason why he's doing it. But bowlers are going to find you out. Bowlers are going to find you out once they understand, they analyze your stance, sitting with the analysts and everything. They'll find you out, and they'll exploit you in that particular region outside the off stump. So you're not going to last long if you bat in that way. That was it, guys. I hope we hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please do give this a thumbs up. Do subscribe to our channel, and also we have a new Instagram page. We'll link that down below. You can go follow that as well. We post little snippets and reels where we show little snippets of the episode prior to the show. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go check that out. We linked the Instagram, our Instagram handle down below. And yeah, that was it from us. Do let us know what you thought of our analysis down below. And yeah, see you guys in a bit. Take care and peace.
It's like it's playtime and it's free time. In the dance, yeah, they have to take a glance. Yeah, we stepping out the room.